Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to get straight to the point, taking the sources you're curious about and pulling out the key stuff so you get informed fast without feeling overwhelmed.
That's the idea. Quick, thorough understanding.
So today we're looking at this transcript. It's from a YouTube video, Polish channel, Ewelina Jackowska, Hipnoza Team Grifasi.
Right, and the title is, well, it's something. Lucyna, ufam tobie, God, I trust in you, as a source of interference.
Yeah, that definitely makes you stop and think. Interference. How?
Exactly. So our mission, you could say, is to figure out what Lucyna was actually dealing with, what came up in this hypnosis session.
And pull out the insights, the knowledge that's relevant for, anyone trying to get a handle on complex ideas quickly. We're your guides here.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so the session starts. Lucyna is under hypnosis. Where does she find herself?
Well, straight away, it's vivid. Her subtle body, her energy body, basically is in a forest. But it's inside a huge bubble. A boyuka, they call it.
A bubble, okay? And she's not having a good time in there.
No. She's leaning on a tree, and she has this, vomiting reflex. But it's energetic. Nothing's actually coming up.
Huh. Just the feeling, the impulse.
Right. And there's more. She feels like she has this camouflage on her back, like an ointment, a mashich, meant to keep people away.
So defensive. And scared.
Definitely fear, distrust. She senses all these little beings around. Bugs, robatsko, butterflies, newts, and noises. It sounds pretty unsettling.
And that vomiting reflex, turns out it's connected to them.
Yeah, that's the theory that emerges. It's like she's feeding these creatures with her own energy through this reflex. Unintentionally, of course.
Wow. Okay. But she wants to work on her stuff, right? She's there for the session.
Yes, absolutely. There's this conflict. She wants help, but she's caught in this energy-draining situation.
So what do?
They agree to sort of pause time within the baiga.
Yeah.
Stop the feeding process temporarily so she can focus.
Like hitting pause on the whole scene. Okay, that makes sense. Gives her some breathing room.
Exactly.
Okay.
A chance to investigate without that constant drain.
Right. So with things paused, where's this energy drain actually coming from? You said the reflex.
Yeah, they trace it back. It's originating from her solar plexus.
Okay. The power center, right? Yeah. Emotions, personal will.
Precisely. And then they find something. Something in her solar plexus. A metallowy payok.
A metal spider, seriously.
A metal spider, described as artificial, placed there, and it's generating frequencies.
Frequencies that cause the vomiting reflex.
That's the connection they make, yes. Yeah. This artificial thing is triggering the energy expulsion.
Metal, artificial. That screams external interference, doesn't it? Not just an internal imbalance.
Absolutely. Something foreign, technological maybe, and targeting the solar plexus. That's significant.
And it's tuned into her emotions.
Seems like it. The transcript says its vibrations resonated with her fear, anger, and helplessness. Helplessness was strongest right then, but the fear was deep underneath.
So it feeds on or maybe amplifies those negative feelings, like a vicious cycle.
Exactly like a feedback loop. The spider vibrates, she feels bad, the bad feelings fuel the energy drain. Awful.
And she feels trapped.
Completely. She describes trying to escape this forest in the bubble over and over, but always ending up back at the same tree, the same spot.
Where the feeding happens.
Where the feeding happens. It's cyclical. Stuck.
Okay, so who else is in this bubble? We got the bugs, butterflies, newts, the roback too she's feeding. What else?
Well, there are also owls and deer. At first, maybe she thinks they're okay, like guardians.
But they're not.
Nope. Turns out they're robots. Observation devices.
Robots disguised as animals? Wow, that's deceptive.
And they're sending images somewhere? To a ship?
A ship? Who's on the ship?
17 Zarzi Greys.
The classic Greys. And what are they doing? Watching her?
Not exactly. They're recording data, but it's mainly about the bugs, the robaki, how fast they grow, how much energy they consume from her.
She's like the battery or the test environment for their study of these energy bugs.
That's what it sounds like. The Greys are analysts in some project. She's just the resource.
And who's running the project? Any idea?
It says the originator is unknown. But, and this seems specific, it's not a smoka, not a dragon.
That is specific. Denying dragon involvement. Okay, so trying to find where her fear comes from.
Right. Looking inside the bubble doesn't really work at first. The fear is just there.
But then a memory surfaces.
A very strong one. An operating table on a gray ship.
Ah, connecting back to the Greys.
Exactly. And she remembers something being implanted in her solar plexus.
The metal spider.
It seems to confirm it, doesn't it? The memory matches the discovery.
Was she aware during this?
Conscious, yes, but paralyzed. She saw it happen. Horrifying.
And she feels blocked from remembering other things.
Yeah, like there's a wall preventing access to other memories or experiences. And the whole bubble, the baka, is described as being lit up, maybe acting as a filter itself.
Controlling her reality and her access to her own memories. Nasty.
And there's this mental program running. Fear in her head, making her listen, be afraid. Which is interesting because on the ship, the memory was more visual, less auditory.
So different kinds of manipulation. Visual on the ship, auditory program in the bubble.
Seems like they're targeting different senses to keep her locked in fear.
But she resists the idea it's just a program.
Strongly. She believes something terrible will happen if she lets go of the fear. It's tied to this idea that she has to feed the entities to survive.
Whoa. That's deep programming, like energetic Stockholm syndrome, you said.
Pretty much. Her survival instinct has been twisted to serve the interference. Makes it really hard to break free.
So attempts to just remove the fear program don't work initially?
No, because of that deep belief. And there are blockades stopping her from remembering when it all started. Key information is just missing, walled off.
And energetically, she's pretty disconnected.
Very. Only about 10% of her subtle body connected to her physical body. Explains the lethargy, right?
Totally. And her essence, her core self.
Hard to locate. Blocked, camouflaged somehow, like she's hidden even from herself.
Then this consent thing comes up. This is a big one.
Huge. The idea that she gave written consent, Goda, for all this at some point.
Written consent. How? When?
We don't get those details, but within the records of the bubble, this consent exists. And it apparently overrides her current consent for the hypnosis session, at least in her mind and according to whatever rules govern that space.
That's a major complication. If she agreed to it on some level?
It raises all sorts of questions about free will, manipulation, agreements across different states. And it stated the bubble itself was made with her energy controlled by the ship.
So she's powering her own prison, which is defended. How?
There's a thin line, a Lenitska, connecting the bubble to the ship. Programs flow through it.
And defenses.
Oh, yeah. Elemental stuff. Freezing, flooding, burning, tornadoes. Triggered if the connection point is threatened.
They thought of everything to protect their setup.
Seems like it. But these defenses are neutralized during the session, which is good.
Okay, so progress. Then this religious angle pops up again.
Right. Amidst all this, a program tied to her faith in God, Boga, emerges. But this time, it feels like a source of hope for her.
Interpreted through her own beliefs, trying to find a way out.
Exactly. Like her own spirit is reaching for something familiar to find strength.
And does that help?
It seems to facilitate creating an exit tunnel out of the bubble.
An escape route. Does she take it?
She hesitates at first. Still scared, expecting bad things because of the programming. But eventually, yes, she agrees to leave.
And they deal with those lingering fear programs.
Yes, those are neutralized too. Big steps forward, dismantling the control structure.
Okay, so she's out of the bubble, but there's more digging to do.
Yeah, there's a strong energy blockage around her reproductive organs that leads them to a past life regression.
And what does she find there?
Something pretty traumatic. A life where she was accused of witchcraft.
Oh, wow.
And killed by being drowned in hot tar.
Smooga.
Horrific. Why was she accused? Seems like it stemmed from her connection to nature, to animals. Something that was positive for her was twisted into something evil by others. Deep sense of injustice, betrayal.
And that connects to the bubble, the forest, the animals.
It mirrors it, doesn't it? The forest setting, the focus on animals, even if they were robots or energy feeders in the bubble, it suggests an unresolved echo from that trauma.
Was there interference, like the Greys, back in that life?
The transcript says no interference of that type before the tar incident. After she died, her subtle self went to the forest, seeking peace.
But something else was going on.
The man who accused her, he was apparently influenced by a smoke.
Yeah.
A dragon attachment.
Ah, the dragon connection again, or influence anyway.
Right. And it seems the bubble creation in the current setup happened after she died in that tar life. She felt fear in the subtle realm, maybe because of that dragon influence lingering, and that fear created an opening.
An opening for what?
Well, she saw light beings, interpreted them through her religious beliefs. God, I trust you. And that somehow led her to the gray ship.
So her faith, her trust, was unfortunately the path to the interference.
It looks that way. Misinterpreted signals, or maybe signals designed to mimic something she'd trust, led her into their hands.
And that's when the spider was implanted.
Yes, on the ship. The spider in the solar plexus, a receiver on her third eye, the camouflage energy field, and the programming, reinforcing her role as a feeder.
Did they have to keep bringing her back to the ship?
Apparently not. The initial programming was so effective, no subsequent physical abductions were needed. She was susceptible.
How long ago was that tar life?
About 3 lifetimes before the present one, according to the session.
Okay, so as Lucyna processes all this in the session, does she start to see the manipulation more clearly?
Yes, very much so. She recognizes the huge difference between the genuine joy she felt with nature in that past life and the awful feeling of being drained in the bubble.
The contrast becomes undeniable.
Exactly. And she realizes her own power, her own agency, is key to changing things.
And she uses it.
She does. Through her intention, she removes the receiver, the spider, the restraints, the camouflage.
Gone.
And the effect, immediate positive shift. Joy, hope, lightness flooding in, fear, helplessness, anger receding. It's a powerful release.
Amazing. But they go even deeper, right? Back further in time?
Yes, to tackle the roots of the programming itself. They go back 7 lifetimes before the tar incident, to ancient Egypt, before the religious programs that were exploited even took hold.
What happens there?
They show her the potential future timeline, the tar incident, the grays, the bubble, all stemming from choices and beliefs adopted after that point.
Giving her a cosmic heads up.
Kind of, giving her the chance to see the trajectory and choose differently.
And does she?
She does. She decides to change her path, focusing inward on herself, her own guidance, rather than latching on to external beliefs that could be manipulated.
So she sort of rewrites her subsequent lives.
In a way, she experiences them again, including the witch lifetime, but with this new awareness and assertiveness. The outcome changes. She isn't killed in the same way.
And the interference, the grays, the ship.
Gone. Not present in these revised timelines. By changing her inner focus, the external hooks for interference disappear.
Wow. So returning to the present moment in the session.
The bubble is gone. The entities are gone. Her subtle body is close and aligned with her physical body. Her energy is clear, positive.
And the feeling.
Self-confidence, self-belief. That phrase, "Bouge femme Toby," now feels empowering, like I can do this.
That's a huge shift.
Massive. Reproductive organs feel clear. Pacts annulled. Essence activated. She's vibrating with self-confidence, courage, agency, happiness, joy, love.
Fully back in her power.
Fully. She integrates these new energies into her physical body. Feels very good.
Does she get a sense of her future now?
Yes, a positive vision. Calm, content, reading, surrounded by good people. No more work anxiety or loneliness. A peaceful outlook.
That's wonderful. There's one last piece, isn't there? About her father.
Yes, she wanted to connect with her deceased biological father's energy.
And could she?
His presence was felt, but he seemed a bit disoriented. Reincarnation processes, maybe some attachments on his end.
How did Lucyna react?
Quite neutral. She mostly wanted closure about whether he was her biological father, some past uncertainty. This seemed to confirm it for her.
So a moment of connection, but not a major clearing needed for her.
Exactly. No negative ties affecting her from that relationship. Just a brief remembrance, limited by his current state.
And a final message.
A message for herself, really. Mushis just jotobi jesini. Love is within you. Enjoy it.
A perfect closing message. What a journey. From that dark bubble to reclaiming her power across lifetimes.
It's really something. Uncovering trauma, interference, but ultimately finding that power within herself to change everything. It shows how deep these things can go, but also how much agency we can potentially reclaim.
Absolutely. Which really brings us to the final thought for everyone listening. Think about it. What unseen influences might be shaping your reality, your beliefs?
What kind of bubbles, maybe metaphorical ones, might you be operating inside without fully realizing it?
And what could happen if you decided to consciously look beyond those boundaries? Something to definitely mull over.
Food for thought.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.